Infinity and Eclipse. We are going to have a little bit of a campfire chat, and I think we can move on with that campfire chat straight away. We are going to have the Nurse, the Hillbilly, and the Blight. So we are moving from 3 killers that were around the chases and loops, Xenomorph and Dredge, and a little bit of M1 feeling with the ghost face, to 3 absolute crackheads on the top of the tier list. Nurse, Billy, and Blight, currently very likely the S tier, A+ tier in DBD. Nico, what do you expect from a best of 3 that is featuring these 3 maniacs?
I'm expecting 4Ks from all of the games. I think we're going to go to a tiebreaker regardless. I feel like Billy, Blight, Nurse, those are killers that you are expected to 4K on every single time. I feel like if you don't, you have somehow, it sounds very rough, but I feel like you have failed your teammates if you don't manage to get the 4K on the killer side at the very least. Obviously, some survivors are just immensely good at playing against these killers, and they are all, while being very, very strong, they're all very mind game heavy in regards to what the opponent is thinking about doing. Nurse, obviously, are they going to overblink? Are they going to underblink? Are they going to assume that you're going to double back, etc.? Billy, do you know when to crouch? Do you know how to, or when to drop the good pallets? Do you know when to greet them to make sure that you cannot get hit? And obviously, Blight, the most egregious one, in my opinion. How many pallets do you have to drop before you're actually going to go down? And are you able to flare him at any point? Probably not, but could be the case. I personally feel like they are 4Kable killers that should 4K on a very consistent level, especially in a comp environment where there are certain perk restrictions, etc. But it's not always the case. We sometimes just do see these killers not be able to get these 4Ks, and that is the small margins, sometimes the RNG, etc., that kicks in, making them unable to do so. So it's going to be very, very interesting, especially interesting to figure out what maps they've actually picked for both the two first sets. I think you said that was Nurse and Billy that were picked first? Yeah, so definitely interested to see what maps.
Nurse is first, Billy is second, and then the Blight is tiebreaker.
Yeah. So Nurse and Billy, I'm very, very excited to see what maps they've actually picked, each team, because that can go a long way with what maps have actually been picked, because I think everyone knows when they see a Midwich offering in pubs at the very least, that's very, very terrifying, because the Nurse has a lot of good ground to cover there. They can go up and down very, very easily. It's very, very easy for her to do anything. Does she get a maybe more middle balanced map, like something like a Macmillan map? That's going to be maybe better for the survivors to try to play around. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what map they've picked.
And the maps are anyway so interesting in this tournament. I still refer back to week number 1 where we had the Trickster on RPD, and we were actually able to pull an upset against Elysium and Xeno on the killer side. That is still like the core example for the map strategy here in AHL. For everyone who just joined, welcome in, obviously, but in this tournament we are not having this classic Nurse on Cold Tower or the Blight on, who was he always, Bloodlodge in the season 9. We are going to see some more variety because the maps are now being selected by the team that has chosen the killer. So if I'm team A and I pick Nurse, then I also select the map in my private team channel. And the big challenge here in this tournament is that the opponent team doesn't know the map until they are loading in on the survivor side. And then they are obviously later on playing the same map with their killer. But this puts this very spontaneous challenge onto the hands of the survivor team. They don't have a long time to practice for a map. They don't have a long time to go for any counter strategy, and the map pool is with 30 maps way too big that even when you ban one map from each other before, way too hard to tell what map it will be. So you need to prove yourself to be very agile depending on the map environment, and this is something that is really fun so far, and we hear the positive feedback from you about the different maps, the different approaches. On YouTube, the comments are looking like this as well. So be ensured we are looking into this concept or similar concepts that are bringing in some variety in the future. Also, what I would like to answer real quick while the players are already getting into the lobby here, and we are loading in latest 2 minutes into the match. I've seen the question a couple of times, how is DBDL playing this weekend with the desync issue still in the game, with the breakable wall issue being into the game, with the tiles being affected? Well, usually in the past, we were always waiting 1 week if the game had some serious issues. And this is what we have done with the AHL as well. The previous weekend was rescheduled to today. Usually it would be the final weekend of the group stage now, but usually Behavior is able to fix the important issues in the next hotfix, and hotfixes are always releasing 1 week later on the Tuesday. And since the desync issue was not fixed, we can only speculate if Behavior even has it on the priority list. We haven't seen any comments from a dev in the forums. We don't have any statement from the devs on Twitter. They are busy at the moment, understandably, with getting the Halloween event ready to go as well. So it would be a speculation that the desync issue is going to be fixed. And of course, we want the most fair environment and we want the most fair and competitive stage when playing a tournament. But if we start speculating that it is getting fixed and then it's still in the game, then we are already talking about 2 weeks delay and we are still stuck in the group stage. There will be more patches throughout the tournament. There will be more updates. The mid-chapter patch is going to affect us as well, potentially with some bugs. And we can all agree probably that we don't want to watch the spooky season tournament all the way into mid or even end of December. We also need to remember there's Christmas at some point, so delays can be tricky and all factors like that. So just giving you a little bit of a transparent insight. Why is DBDL playing this weekend while some other organizations are still saying we are going to delay 1 more time? This was our thought process behind it. The breakable walls are very stable and very much the same. Yeah, thank you. Every single trial, so the players have a chance to work with that and they can make sure that they are going to have a new plan for these new dead ends that are spawning on the map. And Nico, I know that you have some experience on the competitive stage. You have casted so many matches in DBDL, but the nurse on Larry's Memorial Institute is something that Eclipse has cooked up, and I cannot imagine what Team Infinity is thinking at the moment in the VC when they spawned in here, but I wouldn't feel too confident going into this match.
Unironically, if I was the survivors, I would be happy with this map. I don't feel like this is the best nurse map. There's a lot of line of sight blockers everywhere, and if you're good at, playing around that, you should be completely fine. Obviously, with the add-on coming in with the Wheeze, it is going to make the nurse undetectable, so that's probably what they've been thinking. That is like kind of the play here, that if they are undetectable, it's going to be difficult if we get hits like this. Exactly. That's probably the thought process of why they picked this map, but this is probably one of the better maps coming in, actually. Interestingly enough, we also have... Okay, I see it. All right, let me take this from the beginning again, chat, okay? We have Larry, so indoor map, line of sight blockers, usually very, very bad for nurse. However, we have the undetectable add-on, and we have the night perk. I can't remember what it's called, the hex perk. Help me out here. Real quick. It's the top one. I can't remember. It basically makes
the effect it does.
It basically makes the survivors who are not in the terror radius of the killer scream every time, or the more people are injured.
Face the darkness.
Face the darkness, exactly. That's probably the whole idea of this build. So you're constantly trying to get these tags off like this, and then healthy survivors are going to actually scream here. So you're going to see someone scream here in a second, probably, once Face the Darkness is going to proc here. We're going to go back to the hook. Not going to find anyone. So I'm assuming that's going to be like the bread and butter for this build here. So it's definitely a very, very disgusting A disgusting combo here. We do see one person screaming way over there. See their aura as well. And no one coming in for the unhook as of right now. And don't worry, guys. It's not a chase bug or anything like that. It is just the undetectable coming in. Oh, a little bit of a mishap here with Discord being a little unfriendly to us once again. We do, however, have someone coming in for the unhook. I don't know if they actually managed to get it before the second hook stage. I think they did. But we are going to try to find someone immediately right after. Can we find Serial once again on the Nia? They are trying to juke their way somewhere else. Not going to be the case. Don't know if they actually have decisive or not. Karma and Doc are, however, on generators trying to get all the gens popping as soon as possible. So, interesting playstyle going here by the killer. And the survivors, I feel like, don't really know what to do against this as of right now, Dyer.
Yeah, you can tell that Eclipse has definitely made sure that they are using this advantage, right? When you are picking the map, obviously you have a few days to cook up a specific strategy, while your opponent team needs to be a little bit more spontaneous. And with the add-on here, this undetectable status effect that is coming in, the constant information with Hex Face the Darkness, you can definitely tell that Eclipse was doing their homework and that they said, we are going to make sure that when Infinity is loading into the they are not only going to be surprised, and we are going to turn this potential initial happiness about a lot of line of sight blockers into an absolute nightmare. Though hitboxes here is going to take a whiff onto the back of Karma, not going to be successful with this. Would have been a huge down for the team. Now he has to make sure that he's going back, but it's not going to happen in time, so we might just see the camp out here.
Might just see it, and I don't really see a reason why not. It's a very worst situation. You get a tag on someone, maybe even a slug here. Serial is going to maybe go next. Yep, they are out of this trial at 4 gens already, and we actually see a reset coming in on the Hinado as well. But this is the worst person that could have been found here. Karma on the ace is just going to go down. Very, very sad times here for Karma. Not much they could do about that. Just got spotted out of nowhere. I don't even think that was nowhere to hide proccing. I think that was just really, really unfortunate circumstances, actually.
Now there's going to be Karma on the hook. First hook stage, good recovery chance for Infinity. 2 minutes and 20 seconds of hang time. Dwight moving away here, and that's going to be important because you don't want to take any injuries that are not absolutely necessary. For example, to go for a trade with a hooked survivor, to commit to a generator that is important in a certain area. All of this is going to be more punishing for the survivor team than ever before, and Karma needs to go for a good run. He's not able to do so. It is going to be a very confident down by hitboxes here, and there's no second chance or rescue as well. So we are going straight back into hooking Karma. 70 seconds away from the elimination.
Definitely seconds away. I mean, this is just brutal right now. And I did say that it's, you know, a killer that is supposed to be someone that can 4K reliably, but how many gens are we going to lose there? Are we going to try to scout around and try to see someone and make this a 4K fort? That would probably be the absolute best result, obviously, here for iBlame. But I'm not very certain if we should go for that and maybe let them get a free unhook, keep the pressure up that way, or if we should just secure this death as well, maybe go for a 4K3. Depends how confident they are on the survivor side with how many generators they can do, obviously. Remember, the other side, they didn't know that they were going to go onto this map here, so they are definitely thrown for a loop this time around.
Now we are going to see Ace running for his life once again. Feel a little bit bad that he's having such a situation onto him, such a responsibility for Infinity as well. Of course, you want to try and stay alive as long as possible. You don't want to leave your team members behind, and you want to make sure that you're giving them as much time and resources as possible. Karma is dead on hook now, third stage for him as well, leaving Doc and Daimao as the two standing survivors here. Daimao recently switched from, oh boy, a Season 9 contender to Team Infinity, and Dog as well, coming from Elysium. So we are actually talking about a pretty huge roster here on the side of Infinity. Yet this roster seems that this Larry's pick, together with the undetectable and the perk choices paired with Hitbox's nurse skill, is a little bit too much right now.
Definitely is. 4K3 would be a very, very welcome result here for the side of the killer. Need to see if they have any gen progression on anything else at all. The gens are very, very spread out at the very least, so they might be able to get one more, even if it's not, you know, a really, really strong chase coming in. 4K2 would be a lot better for the survivor side. It's definitely something that they can play around more, but again, this is, you know, this is their set coming in here. This is the killer that they picked, and they are definitely showing why they picked it, and especially why they picked it on this map, Dire.
I'm just trying to figure out, what would you suggest Infinity at this point, right? Because Hitboxes is so strong and so confident that I feel like one additional generator could be celebrated by Infinity, like taking it out here. Because realistically, if we are looking on it, Hitboxes is not going to make a mistake. At least he doesn't make the impression that he's struggling on this map at all. So we are going to continue see confident blinks, quick downs. You have Hex Ruin still that is regressing the generators that they try to work on. So it's your environment, it's your gen control, it's you being in the having the time of your life, basically. So if Infinity gets one more gen here to make the win condition a little bit more tricky for Team Eclipse, I think they would be more than happy than that and could celebrate.
Oh yeah, I think that's definitely what they're going to play for. They're just going to play for a 4K2 lose con, I guess you can call it at this point. I don't think that they should be expecting to do anything else but that, but it's going to be interesting to see if they're actually able to do so, because 4K2 is also very, very difficult with the Ruin, you know, still going up. You can see the nurse constantly blinking back and forth. This time we do have scratch marks to actually go after, so maybe there is something that we can find here. Unfortunately, we do not have the longest blink this time around. Can we find anyone at all? It went left instead of right, apparently misleading scratch marks this time around, and holding the blink, trying to find someone, but I think they might have just lost time out this time around. So is Doc on a generator on the other side? That is what you need to actually be mostly scared about right now, because you're getting spread thin right now, even though you are Nurse, it feels like. And he actually is. Doc is on a generator over there.
And there we see maybe the final chance of Infinity for that final third generator in this context right here. The main room gen, 60%. It seems like Hitboxes is not expecting that this generator is already so far progressed. Now going to blink back into that direction, but if the survivors are potentially even teaming up on that generator now because they realize that Hitbox is somewhere else. Now this actually works as the perfect bait. We have spotted a survivor over there, but obviously this means that Hitboxes will try find that survivor again, and there it is, third generator. That is a very good work by Team Infinity, making the upcoming trial much more difficult for this survivor team of Team Infinity. For Team Eclipse, they need 4 generators if we would come to an ending right here. And our survivor team actually still hasn't taken any injury and is looking pretty confident. So Nico, will we even see gen number 4?
We definitely shouldn't. There's going to be tag on both of them, so now we're going to get Face of Darkness value once again. Doc should be going down in relatively short span of time, this time injured, having to run around. Yep, there it is. That should just seal the deal with the 4K2. We're going to try to find Hinato, though. So let's see if we can actually do that here. But Hinato is actually, Hinato is already back towards the down survivor. They're going to try to see if they can actually do something, see if they can actually get one more generator done, get something done. A 4K1 would be absolutely disgusting if they got this out of it with 2 survivors left at 3 gens. That would be almost unheard of, Dire.
Yeah, if they are pulling this, if they are pulling the same amount of generators with 2 survivors, than they did as 4, then I'm actually going to cheer for Team Infinity. I'm going to cook up a French song live on this stream for a campfire chat if they are doing one more gen. I'm calling it right here, because that would be such an insane recovery if they are going to pull that. Obviously, Doc and Daimao, you couldn't wish for better players to be alive right now, because we are talking about an Oboy and an Elysium player that both participated in Season 9. So if there's any experts that can solve this problematic situation, then it's these two. Yet, as you mentioned, it should absolutely not happen that Hitboxes is allowing them to take an additional gen here.
Definitely, definitely. And obviously, we do have the totem getting deleted here from the game. Nice little juke coming in from Daimao. Doc should be on a generator somewhere trying to get it done to get the 4K1 result WinCon instead of the 4K3 that they had previously. And this is going to be Daimao actually going down. Question is, can we find Doc in time? He was actually on a generator over there. Doesn't seem like there's enough juice on it to make sure that it gets finished before we do get found. So interestingly enough, we're maybe trying to go for the same play again, Dyer. This time just reversed.
Doc has to step up for Daimao this time and needs to make sure that there's something happening. Keep in mind, everyone, you might have in mind the RNG hatch location, and you might say, why are they not just having Daimao bleed out on the floor, and then Doc can take the hatch and make some endgame turn, some surprise. It doesn't work anymore in AHL, because in the AHL we added a new rule that the hatch or the exit gates are ignored if a generator was still standing, in order to remove this RNG factor from the endgame. So Doc and Daimao would need to go for 2 more generators, and then one of them can go out of the hatch, so it would count. Spotting the survivor over here, Doc quickly being put onto the floor, leaving Daimao. I think that will be a very quick ending here.
Definitely should be the case here. 40 people also being used here to try to get Daimao up as fast as possible. Again, we have to find Daimao before we can end this game, and I feel like they're being... This is obviously the good part of this map for the survivors. It's very, very easy to hide on this map because there are a lot of corners, a lot of line of sight blockers. So it's super, super easy to try to just, you know, rat your way to a hatch play or a gate play. But that's not going to be the relevancy for this game at the very least. So we'll see what they're cooking up here. I'm assuming Daimao is going to pick up Doc at some point, probably pretty soon. They're probably conversing about where the killer is blinking to, see if they can get the pickup as fast as possible. Luckily, Wigglelift is not a perk that they're going to be able to use here now. That perk has been absolutely gigantically buffed here and would definitely be a very, very strong perk in this situation right now. But Doc, once again, getting picked up, is going to get the stun and get down at the same time. All right, that's, you know, what that is. Daimao now once again getting chased by his demons, the nurse, trying to find him across the map. And yeah, I feel like this is just going to be a very, very long one from this point on, Dyer.
Yeah, it's going to be this hide and seek on a high level, right? If the Hex Ruin wouldn't be there, I would say you can make something sneaky. You can put a few percentages into this gen, then a little bit into the other gen. When the nurse is then passing your location, doesn't find you, you can try go for another 10 or 15%, and then very slowly you are maybe able to get this 4th generator done over time. But with the Hex Ruin, that's obviously not going to work out. Teleporting back towards Doc makes a lot of sense as well, as you could imagine that the survivor is over here. I'm not sure if Hitboxes is aware of the rule change, because he could just hook Doc, then go for the hatch, since it doesn't matter anymore. So maybe Hitboxes has something in mind here, or he doesn't want to give chance to Daimao to make a stylish escape. Not entirely sure. Or it's just important for him that he finishes very clean with the 4K. Here could be happening as well. It seems like just where I was speaking it out, it came to his mind as well that he can actually, without any additional risk, hook this survivor and remove them from the trial in at least 2 minutes here, because Doc has still quite some hang time.
Yeah.
Interesting trial so far. Yeah.
I do believe it's just a case of them not, you know, sometimes they play a lot of different tournaments, obviously, and the rules are a little bit different here and there, so they might have not realized that, oh, you can actually just hook and it's still going to be the 12 hook. So definitely could be the case. Daimao now maybe going for the unhook at some point. That, you know, is also a play they could do, because then you need to find them again, and then maybe they pop another gen at that point. So definitely should be the case at the very least. I feel like they should have maybe unhooked at that point, but they didn't really go for it. So where is Daimao hiding? Could he just be at the hook waiting and just unhooking at the last second? I'm not really sure. It's definitely interesting decisions coming out here from both sides right now.
Now, Hitboxes is going to be a little bit of a hero for Eclipse. I think this is what we can agree on, even if the trial has not ended yet. Putting his team in a very great position. You need to get 4 generators done, most likely in the upcoming trial. This also effectively means you can ignore any 3-gen. And on Larry's, it is still possible to have a 3-gen, especially towards the main room side. And for the Nurse, obviously blinking through the walls, most of the generators in range of at least 2 blinks. A 3-gen can be very damaging for a Survivor team on Larry's. So the fact that you can ignore a 3-gen with this win condition is already putting a lot of pressure off them. Hitboxes now with a good amount of distance between the hook and the potential rescue here will try to find the hatch. And once again, for everyone, even if Daimao is escaping through the hatch, it will be 12 stages on 4 individual survivors. The question is just, how stylish are we going to end this final trial? It seems like Hitboxes found the target first, is going to put Daimao in even less of a success, or even less of a chance to escape this trial. So while we are spectating the last chase here, maybe we'll see a very nice 1v1 chase with a good time. Nico, how do you approach this final trial for set number 1 when you're Team Infinity? Your Nurse is coming up. As a Nurse, you probably found out that in 10 minutes you're going to play Nurse on Larry's. How will you do that on Infinity's side?
I feel like you just have to try to play as aggressive as possible. You don't try to go for any 3-gen shenanigans. You just try to get these downs as fast as possible, and basically just try to see if you can, you know, hook people as fast as possible. It obviously depends on the build as well that they're coming in with. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they are going to be cooking up here, but I feel like aggression is going to be better for them than anything else coming into this trial, because while we did see Hitboxes being very, very aggressive in the early game, it kind of mellowed out in the mid game, and it actually lost, you know, another gen, which could be very, very important coming in here in the next trial.
I think that's a perfect outro for the break, so we will just take that. Stay tuned, everyone. Infinity coming up in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to DBDLeague on the Larry's Institute à la Mémorial de Nurse de Teleport. At least this is how it's going to feel for Doc. Our French team is going to take the responsibility against Eclipse with Mathis, Kurush, MRK, and Scorers. And let me tell you a little story about the Survivor team of Eclipse today, because they have to be playing with a very special, let's say, plan, because Mathis is not feeling really well at the moment, at least not considering his voice. He has some sort of virus at the moment, and he sounds like this. Everyone, and with that they are bringing in an additional team member today who's watching Mathis screen share and then calls out for the Survivor team based on what he's seeing on the screen share. If that's not an actual additional challenge for your Survivor team, then I don't know what you are considering it. But let's see how Eclipse is doing with an extra challenge like that. And Nico, so far I would say it looks pretty damn good.
It looks pretty damn good so far. We're going to get the pallets done, however, here. Score is actually the second one that they get during this chase. Beautifully, beautifully done here. And we're just going to die edge map as much as possible out at the entrance exit gate. So beautifully done here by the Ada. Are we going to see a generator pop, however, is the most important thing here. One at 50%. And that's actually the one that's being doubled as well. So that's going to be the one with the most progress right now. And I think Mathis also had another generator progressed a little bit. Much more of a stock standard build that we actually saw on the side of the Nurse, however, on Dying, Corrupt, Ruin, Pain Res. So a build that allows you to get much more aggressive in the early game and gives you time to actually get more chases in earlier on and maybe get a, better result than the other side did, because the win con right now is a 4K3, which was completely doable on the other side. We saw Dire, but a little bit of misplays here and there made it a 4K2. So definitely going to be interesting to see what the case is going to be on the side of the survivors. If they're going to try to just pump out the gens as fast as possible, someone does get tunneled out, as we do see here. Scores once again straight off the unhook, is going to go down. No DS here on them. So super unfortunate things happening here for the side of survivors. This is going a little bit too fast for them.
Yeah, it is overwhelming them. Scorers is already on the second hook stage, so Survivor team definitely having a little bit of struggle as well, but the overwhelming part is also onto Doc right here. A generator is already out, meaning that 25% of the target have been reached on the Survivor side. They only have one additional injury. If they are making sure now that Mathis is not going to move in too quickly, then they should be fine, because Kurushu or MRK could go for a trade here. And then starts the very final chase for Scorers, the anti-tunnel out chase. Basically, we might even see the Survivor getting eliminated on the hook and the Survivor sacrificing them. Then though, if we are moving into 3 Survivor standing, we should have a significant penalty for the killer, and this can be done definitely by one generator being done, the injury being healed, but I feel like we should see a little bit more on the Survivor side. Therefore it makes a lot of sense that Mathis is now moving in, takes the down right here. And Doc is actually going to hook, expecting some sort of quick recovery, or in this case here, the unbreakable. But if Scorers is now doing a good run and a little bit of hide and seek talent, never mind, I just jinxed everything.
You definitely did. The most important thing that I was getting hyped out there was the fact that Mathis actually got the deliverance, because he did get picked up instead of just going after Scorers immediately. So that's going to be a free unhook coming in onto the David. No person needed to, assign time to do that. So that's huge for the side of the survivors. Maybe they can get 1 or 2 gens more popping this way here. It's a very, very early tunnel out, however, coming in with 3 gens remaining still. Obviously, Nurse is insanely good at chasing here, and we're trying to find someone here. Nice locker hop in here, actually, by MRK. One blink out of the room here. We just know exactly where the survivor is. And one blink once again. We're just not even waiting for the double blink. Just one blinking everywhere. And we are going to get the down here on MRK, which means another pain res probably about to come in, which means more gen regression coming in. And this is just detrimental here for the side of survivors. This is not the way that they wanted this game to look. Remember, the survivors were the ones that actually picked this map, but they're the ones who are getting washed right now, I feel like, at the very least. This is going very well for Doc.
It is going really, really well, and it's going much more well than we were expecting when we talked about how would you feel when you hear in 10 minutes you have to bring out your nurse and it's going to be on the Larry's Memorial Institute. For that, I feel like also the plan of Eclipse, that was 100% we are practicing nurse on the Larry's Memorial Institute and the other team is going to be very lost and a little bit overwhelmed, is not working out. Doc is too strong to be overwhelmed. second survivor incapacitated now. Difficult world. Mathis on the ground. MRK still on the hook there. So it's all on Kurushu. Luckily, he's quick enough with taking the survivor of the hook there in the distance. Otherwise, we were snowball ready. Mathis, no deliverance anymore, as it's now the second hook stage for him. So only 70 seconds. You need to make a very good selection. Do you go for the heal, or do you want to spread out already? They chose the heal. This is telling Doc that they are still together somewhere as two survivors. If he's able to find them, this could almost mark a GG.
Definitely could. And also, what's mostly interesting right now is how much gem progression do they have anywhere? Do they have any at all? Because that was, you know, another pain rush coming in before, and then we had someone unhooked that we needed to go and save. So that's a lot of ruin time that can be procced onto that generator as well. And if Mathis is going to go to the next trial here already, that is also very, very dangerous. We get a tag onto Mr. K, or MRK, whatever the heck you want to call them, and we do finally see the unhook happening here on Mathis. Karush was in the area. That means no one was on a generator for quite some time, and that's Ruin doing a lot of hurt onto that generator on the other side. And we're actually just going to leave the Carlos B this time around, because they're doubling the generator is what Doc is thinking on the other side of the map. No, they're actually healing. Interesting. I feel like the survivors are not managing their gen time well enough as of right now, Dyer. I feel like this is going to be a catch-up game for them consistently if they keep getting tagged like this and trying to run around and try to heal each other.
The survivor team definitely under pressure. Survivor team needs to have this to-do list done as quick as possible. Generators, heals, a little bit of distraction here and there, maybe even setting up a bait leading into a longer chase. Basically everything that you can imagine in terms of DBD is what they need right now. A lot of nice ideas for sure. I love the approach in general that Eclipse said. We want to pick a map outside the pocket, something unusual for the nurse, but Doc with this wonderful blink here as well, Nico, he's just too strong. It's not going to work on him.
No, he's feeling very, very comfortable on the nurse. You can tell for sure. And Karush, I think, is also the last pain res that he actually has. And plot twist actually going on outside here. I'm not sure if Doc just didn't see it or didn't want to go and pick it instead. We do have a hit coming in here. Was this Medal of Man? It surely couldn't be. I'm not sure exactly what that was. Maybe it was a dead hard. I'm not really sure, but MRK is going to go down in the most corner of any map you've ever seen in your life. And plot twist coming in on Karush here in a second. It was indeed dead hard coming in, and Mathis is actually going to go into a locker to try to stealth out anything that's happening here, but apparently got found somehow. I'm not really sure what happened there. I'm not sure if Doc just knew exactly where he was, and that's why MRK jumped out of the locker, but in any case, does get tagged this time around. Karush is now fully healed due to plot twist. And can we find anyone else around here? Mathis is going to drop that pallet on the forehead of the nurse, but it is going to be a blink attack onto him. He is going to go down, and I'm not mistaken, this is Mathis going out of the trial, and we are in the same situation as we were last trial, Dyer. 2 survivors left, 3 gens remaining. Can we get anyone else? Sorry, go.
So rough for the survivor team. I feel super sad for them. If you're coming in, if we imagine this entire context, you cook up a special map, you have a good plan for yourself, and then you're basically even being in a good situation from your killer player, right? It's a situation where you can feel very confident for a good reason with the upcoming survivor trial, and then you are kind of facing reality, and Doc is putting you into place like this. That's very, very sad to see. Yet they need to deal with that. They need to somehow find a way to at least get this third generator out of the way, because a tie, honestly, Nico, would be big to achieve.
A tie would be big to achieve at this point, obviously. We do have MRK on a gen on the other side of the map, outside of the 3-gen zone that they've created for themselves. And I feel like we just missed Blink there and went downstairs, went to Tesco or something. I'm not sure. They're on picking up some soda on the way home after work, but Karush is actually sitting pretty right now and trying to get on this generator again. We've seen this generator has progressed a lot after the ruin has been procced onto it for a while. The worst part is that Mr. K, MRK, Carlos himself is going to be found here, and this is going to be the 3K at the very least coming in here. Okay, MRK down. Do we have time to hook? Probably not, so we're just going to try to go over and stop that last generator from proccing. No, we're actually going to say no. We're going to run back again and try to get MRK off of the ground and onto a hook instead. I feel like it would have been better to try to find Karush at this point, because if Karush pops this gen, it's going to be a tie instead, Dyer, and I do believe it is going to get popped. I don't think there's anything at all that we can actually do about it. No pain rest coming in because it's already been used here on MRK, so he's going to just pop the gen. That's going to be the tie, Dyer. Unfortunately, that means regardless of anything, we are going to go to the Billy set, if I'm not mistaken, and that might be the tiebreaker for everything. But yeah, a tie coming in here is probably really, really good for the side of the survivors as of right now, because things were looking very, very sketchy here coming into the late game.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this means a couple of things. We are 100% seeing Billy and Blight now, and if it's a 1-1 after these sets have been played, in this case we would need to come back to the nurse on Larry's later on. Hatch is going to be closed. Again, even if the survivor would have escaped, it wouldn't have made a difference in the score, because we are ignoring all hatch or exit gate escapes when a generator was still standing. Doc now trying to find the last survivor. Obviously, after a match like this, you would like to finish it off with the best possible and smoothest 4K that you can imagine. Yet, I think the winner from this set is definitely Team Infinity. Eclipse was cooking up the nurse on Larry, so you would expect that they are also going to take the win. And even if Infinity has, if you want to call it like this, only made it a tie and not taking the win themselves, I feel like Infinity can pretty much celebrate themselves for this performance.
Oh, absolutely. You feel like you put Doc in a very, very awkward situation, getting them on Larry's with the nurse, and you know, you don't have the perks to even kind of support it either, so you're just kind of winging it from the get-go. You have the add-on, luckily, that does make you undetectable. That's something that a lot of people are using these days, however, so definitely from playing from the back foot from the beginning, Doc, but played super, super well. Had very, very strong chases all in all, and might have just, you know, won them the entire set. If they win the next two sets, obviously that's just going to be straight up because Doc tied this set for them.
Yeah, and Infinity's set is coming up next, so the chance for them to first take the win away from Eclipse and then putting themselves in a very beautiful situation with the Billy that is going to come up. Will be interesting to see where we're going to play him. Doc actually gets the smooth 4K that he was looking for. Survivor will have no chance to escape here. Kurosho is maybe even finding himself on the hook, so we can count it as the smoothest 4K in history. No, not going to happen. We are going to see the finisher Mori instead. That is just as beautiful, because we are definitely not seeing enough Moris in competitive DBD. So big compliment towards Team Infinity. They have done themselves a very, very good job taking away this chance from Eclipse after they were going for the Larry's map here on the nurse. I really feel like Eclipse should have won that. The fact that they didn't is definitely going to make the difference. Billy for the Team Infinity is coming up next. We're going to see what map they have picked, and we will see you right after this very short break. Welcome back everyone to DBDLeague in the Blood Lodge with the Billy housekeeping first. Eclipse is taking half of Oak stage penalty for extending the lobby setup time. Teams have 4 minutes to join the lobby on the survivor side and get everything ready. Obviously, if technical difficulties are proven, we are giving them extra time. But here it was just the fault of Team Eclipse taking too long, and we are well aware that long tournament breaks are not really something that you all like to see. Hence, we changed the rules half a year ago, allowing us to penalize the teams for extending the lobby time, and this is the case right here. So the current survivor team, Eclipse, is taking half of a hook stage penalty, a tier 1 penalty if you want to be more specific to the rule set. That's obviously going to affect the game not too drastically, except we are going to see a tie later on. In this case, it would flip in favor of Infinity, so they better get a good game here.
They definitely do, and we do see the strategy that we've seen being so prominent as well, with the no mither on the David coming in here to make sure that no force slugging can occur in any circumstance at all. So we actually see very nice patience coming in from Doc here, actually making sure that he's not going to be crouch tag on the pallet, and we have a survivor somewhere around here. Are we going to see a pallet save here? Nope, not going to be the case. They actually just opted to run away immediately. We didn't really talk that much about the build, but we do see, however, the Deliverance curse coming in. Actually, Hitboxes, who is getting hooked, had Deliverance. So that's not going to be in play at all. So that's going to be definitely detrimental for them. And Plot Twist as well coming in, just very, very interesting. We did find a totem, actually, with the Resilience and no mither coming in. That's going to be cleansed very, very fast. Hopefully, that's going to be a good bird for them to disappear off. It's just going to be the Undying for now, with the Ruin and the crowd control as well in full effect onto Doc. He is still very much vibing here, very much making certain that these chases cannot go on for way, way too long. And as we do get back to the hook here to try to see if anyone is trying to do anything, any shenanigans at all, trying to pull this survivor off of the hook. We're just going to go back and forth, trying to get a little bit of pressure, but we're not seeing what we usually do, Dyer, where the Billy is very, very aggressive from the get-go and trying to get these slugs down and try to get these high-gen 4Ks instead.
Yeah, it's not a Xeno. We can maybe put it like that. Xeno is always the legend when it comes to the Blood Lodge Philly. He's going to have you on the floor immediately, trying to go for as many slug chances as possible. That's not the case here for Dog. Hitbox is now hitting the second stage, so that is definitely good in terms of cutting down the survivor team to potentially 30 survivors. But besides that, we see that a little bit of gen pressure is happening. Quite some of the objectives have noticeable progress. Second generator being completed as well, and I think for Doc it is important to either catch one of the potential rescuers or even force hitboxes all the way into the elimination. The chance for that is here right now, but rotates back, because as soon as this survivor is calling that they are entering chase, there is a potential rescuer coming over. Tech is lurking there. We see the typical no mither strategy that was introduced in season 9, preventing the absolute slug with having one survivor who can stand up. Lux is going to take the down, so some sort of a trade here, but with 2 survivors, Nico, that's a high price to pay to keep one survivor in the game.
That's an immense price to pay. However, Lux does have Soul Guard, and they are affected by a Hex, if I'm not mistaken, as of right now. So he could pick himself up, actually. Soul Guard, not a perk that we see super, super often. I don't think that's going to be the last Hex. No, it's not. It's not the last Hex that they're going to be cleansing right now. So Lux should be able to pick himself up and actually go over and get Tech off. So yeah, here comes the get up here, not the Unbreakable, but the Soul Guard, and we actually see these two run away, try to get on a generator as fast as possible, obviously. So super, super interesting that they decided to not hook the ace as well, but I can definitely understand why that is the case. Sprint Burst not going to be activated just yet, or sorry, not able to be activated anymore. And here we actually have crowd control coming into full effect, making sure that we can't do any 50s here around this window. But we are going to probably go down over here in the corner as far as we can, away from all the generators, while we have one generator being worked on here by Ada. And I do believe the other one is being worked on in Shaq by doubling. Yes, it is. And this is not the result that we're used to see actually from the Billy. He's going to be at one generator very, very soon. Is he even going to be able to make it over to Shaq? I doubt it. Yeah, no, that's going to be proc and pop, sorry, as well. And well, now we need to find the last gen that's being worked on. We can't really afford to go over to the Shaq actually, Dyer.
And Score is now in the next chase here, the healthy survivor, but it doesn't help you. I was just about to say, if you are able to force an M1 over a pallet, over a window, then you can go for a longer chase, but instead we are going to see the very unfortunate straight down onto them. Tech has a hook stage already. Score is now with the hook stage, so Lux is the one who can actually hang for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Quick rescue is the plan here, makes a lot of sense. You want to bring your survivors back as quick as possible so the pressure is staying stable. Doc will immediately go back towards the survivors, trying to get them as quick as possible. A little bit of mind gaming here around this TNL. Survivors staying the stronger part. Doc, though, now in a challenging situation because he lost the rescuer and the survivor on the hook, so you better get them back. Good that he's catching Lux here.
Yeah, very, very good zoning coming in here, making sure that you can't get on top of Funbus in any capacity. And this is going to be Lux going onto the hook. That's going to be this last pain rest that he has going for him. Now it's just crowd control. That is the only perk left. Still a super, super strong perk coming in here on Billy, obviously, making certain that these 5 windows that are last blocked are going to just be unstoppable to get through. Plot twist actually makes so much sense here, especially with the decisive strike coming in as well, because you can't slug him. You need to pick him up. You're in a lose-lose situation. Can you get the down as fast as possible? However, that is going to be the biggest question. Nice plot twist coming in from Scoras, making sure that he can get value out of his decisive strike. And now we're going back to the hook, to the proxy camp, making sure that no one can go over here and get this unhooked. No one's on gens right now, and that's a good situation for Doc. 4K1 is definitely what he's looking at to try to achieve here.
Now we are going to see if Doc is successfully able to force Lux into the second stage, or if we are going to see maybe even an unfortunate trade again. This time though, a trade with 2 survivors on the floor would be much worse than it was with 4 survivors still in the trial. We saw the scratch marks right there, but Doc is trying to go all the way over here. Ada is working on the gen, a little bit of a patience game. Pallet being dropped ultimately, but that was a rescue in the distance in time. Ada going down here on the floor, and still no slugging. Actually a very different approach than usual Billy gameplay that we have seen, especially compared to this season 9. So Doc going more for the approach, secure what you got, collect the hook stages that way, and it kind of works so far. Yet I wonder if he's potentially risking finding himself in the end game.
Definitely could be the case, but he also seems pretty comfortable right now. Seems to have the pressure turned on, seems to know exactly where the survivors are going to run to, where they're going to not be, and definitely doesn't want to chase Lux way over on that side of the map. There is no gen zone, so no reason at all to be over there, I'm pretty sure. I see a little bit of scratch marks here from Tech, actually not too far away from where the hook was in the side of Shaq at the very least. We see someone running in here for the rescue. Do we have anything at all to give? No, that's just going to be Scoras probably dying here on the hook. It's going to be Lux going down very, very close to it as well. Is Tech in the area to try to get Ada off the hook? He's not. He's on the other side of the map. Nothing at all that he can do. He can't even get on the gen because Billy has blood in his eyes. He knows exactly that there's someone around here. There has to be someone around this area. Going back to the hook, however, now is going to be Doc, and yeah, I don't believe that this last generator is ever going to pop. I think this is just going to be the 4K1 instead, Dyer. If this generator pops, I will be very, very surprised. not going to be the case by the looks of it. So 4K1 is probably going to be the outcome. Let's see what we have cooking here. Tech, he actually stayed on the generator. He would have batted to like 80% by now, but Lux somehow apparently got off. I'm not really sure how, but Lux apparently got off of... was it Soul Guard maybe getting picked up? I'm not sure, but somehow Lux is actually on the generator. So this is super, super interesting. Now we have 2 people actually working on separate gens, opposite sides of the map. So this is a lot different than what I expected to happen. Now it's definitely doable to maybe get a 4K0. Oh, that window is still blocked. We're going to get M1 here before we even get anywhere else. Are we going to see this generator pop? No, it's only at 70%, sadly. So Lux and Tech are probably going to die here. Tech needs to buy as much time as possible. Remember, Lux still has Soul Guard, so he can still get up as of right now. It is completely possible for him. He's still affected by the Hex Curse of crowd control. Let's see if we can get a curve around this tractor. It's a little bit harder to get around this van here than it is to get on the Sin car, so definitely going to be a harder task here for Doc. And yes, we do see a beautiful Dead Heart coming in here from Tech, actually. Very, very nice. Lux is once again off the ground with the Soul Guard. He's getting back on the gen, hopefully on the other side of the map. And if that generator pops here, it's going to be disaster for Doc here and his team. They cannot afford to lose this generator. They definitely need to go back and check on it. It's going to be at 70%, but they're both actually on this side of the map. He's going over to the other gen. He thinks he's on it. They might actually pop this. This is absolutely incredible play coming from them.
Absolutely. This is the comeback of the years, we could say, and Lux, honestly, a little bit together with Tag, sometimes a little bit hesitant on the generators. Should they push through it? Should they go for it? It might be the few seconds that they lost here, but ultimately they are still fighting against a Billy, against an experienced Billy. Even Doc is a pretty cracked player from all the years that he spent in the competitive environment, and the fact that 2 survivors are causing so much trouble here at the moment is showing you what power they ultimately have together with this stun right here. Moving forward towards the main building, again a difficult area to loop, and therefore we're going all the way over here. I also love the awareness from these survivors. They are not getting sniped. They are always this one step ahead of the killer, going for good runs, and we see it again. Doc has to leave. Nico, there's a realistic chance that they are going to take this final generator if they keep it up. The Tech and Lux are leaving the generators in time, that they are not going to be too optimistic, not too much of committing, overcommitment potentially. It looks beautiful what they are putting up right now.
It definitely does, and we're going to see the curve once here again, not being able to do anything. Tech screen almost going completely blacked out because he refuses to even mend himself because he knows he needs the time on the generator at the moment. We're not getting caught out on the other side either. Lux with the Soul Guard has been putting so much work in. This Soul Guard has been so valuable, and it's a perk that we haven't really seen that much actually, Dyer, but it makes so much sense coming in against the Billy that has now become this Hex killer instead with the crowd control buffs that came in. The meta is shifting around, and I love how these new survivors are just innovating so much with these perks that they're bringing in. Beautiful, beautifully done. And this is going to be the last gen actually popping. Dyer, we could even maybe perhaps see an escape. The gates are far enough from each other that we could perhaps see something nice. Little crouch tech coming in, and we are going to have to run a little bit further. We're going to have to run into a locker probably to make certain that we can get someone else. Okay, we're going to check the gate. It's 3 lights on already, I believe, and if we can swap places here, if Tech can somehow get out of harm's way, he might be able to get at least a 1 out for his team. It's actually only 1 light. Sorry, I was lying a little bit to your chat. That is completely my fault, but we're trying to get over there. The panic is so visible from the survivors and from Doc. They're both trying to keep calm, cool, and collected. Nice crouch once again coming in. We're not going to drop the pallet this time either. There it finally gets dropped, and we're on the other side of the map trying to get this gate open. No locker coming in. We're going to point tech. Remember, we still have no Mither here on tech. He could very well still get up and get on that gate again. I think it has about 20 to 25% progress, and this one has about 50. This is insane, Dire. No inch is giving by either of the teams. Survivor or Killer, doesn't matter. They're playing to their full abilities right now, and we do actually find Lux. Tech should be getting up at any second now. There it is, the No Mither coming up once again, and Doc still frantically trying to get someone down. Another crouch tech coming in. We have a pallet here. He swings. Nothing at all to be gained from it. Needs to run to the other gate again. Needs to find someone to down. He's going all the way. He's going to get this down. Tech is down, but it's Lux on the other side. 50% on the gate. About 60 to 70 now. He's trying to not get found. He needs to buy time once again. The No Mither needs to clutch in. All these Unbreakable-esque perks are just pulling in so hard right now for the side of the Survivors. He has another pallet here. Can he play around it? He is going to drop it instantly. This is definitely going to be Tech coming up once again. Can he get on the gate? It's going to be open this time, Dire. He actually gets out. It's certain. It's a certainty. He's just out.
Wow.
It's a one-man escape.
2 stages even on that final Survivor. Lux, ladies and gentlemen, L-U-X, mark this name. This was the MVP chase of the entire All Hallows League. What is he cooking? They're in the end game, running from pallet to pallet, from crouch tech to crouch tech, winning all these mind games, making sure that teammate Tech can ultimately escape. L-U-X. If you have a spray bottle right now next to you, don't care about your parents, just write the name on the wall in your living room, because what you just witnessed with Lux here is the peak gameplay of comp, the story of an entire team coming back, pushing themselves not only through the final generator, but all the way into 2 stages out of the door. Doc literally had a 4K on his hands with the generator standing for sure, Nico, and having an out now is devastating.
Absolutely devastating. And like we were talking about, it was all these Unbreakable-esque perks that came out. It was the plot twist that got the DS from Scorers. It was the Soul Guard that got the unhook on Tech from Lux. It was the No Mither coming in from Tech, allowing Lux to, you know, be chased again and buying enough time for Tech to come up again and and getting that door, getting that escape. And like you said, it was the guy with the most hooks left on him that actually got out. So it doesn't hardly even matter that they got the minus, 0.5 hook here on their side of the Survivors. They're going to come in here with the next game knowing that they just need to get a 4K1, and that's completely fine by them, and that is completely doable here for the side where you're playing Billy, especially on Blood Lodge, Dire.
Crazy game. I was absolutely on Infinity's side after that nurse set, since they have taken it from Eclipse and not allowing that their strategy with the map worked out. Now I must say I just turned into an Eclipse fan. I will say it how it is. This was just way too crazy in the end game, way too strong. So if Eclipse is going to win this set now on the Billy, then they absolutely deserve it. And then we anyway have the Blight to make the ultimate decision. But the Billy deserves to be taken by Team Eclipse here. Insane game. LUX definitely going to be the man of the day. We're going to see if there is any counterplay to what we have just witnessed. And we will show you that straight after a very short break.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back on Blood Lodge with the Hillbilly. Going here is Hitboxes piloting this beast of an S-tier killer. He needs a 4K1 to make sure that he wins the game for his team. And after playing tremendously well on the last set, we are definitely not expecting anything less here You can see here Damao and Serial actually being the first people to get chased already, and Serial kind of has to just drop this pallet. Nope, we're just going to get tagged instead, actually. Doc with the no mither, remember, definitely pivotal. And the question is, do we have the Soul Guard? Do we have the plot twist? Because that worked out super, super well for the other team last game. So definitely interesting to see if same things are going to be the case. And interestingly enough, look at these perk decisions that they've actually been making here, hitboxes, Dire. We don't have any pain res. We have Ruin, Undying, Crowd Control, and I think the last one is the one that makes you cleanse slower that I don't even remember the name of.
Yeah, going into the slowdown when trying to make sure that the Hex Totems are leaving the trial here with Thrill of the Hunt is going to be a very deciding factor as well. Interesting build, absolutely agree with you. Basically trying to defend what you got as quick or as much as possible, yet we can already tell Undying gone, Ruin gone, Thrill of the Hunt absolutely not being a deciding factor here though. Hitboxes not joking around at all. That is Serial on the hook, Karma on the floor, and this feels like a little Xeno that we are watching right now.
Definitely feels a lot more like a Xeno play style, and I definitely feel like that's the best way to play the Billy here in the comp environments. I am very curious to see if they do have the Soul Guards, if we do have the plot twist to try to get themselves up again, and also super unfortunate for the side of the survivors that they are cleansing Ruin as the second perk here. This is not going to be good, Doc. You are definitely in a heap of trouble. He doesn't even have a pallet here, if I'm not mistaken, or did he never break it? He never broke it, actually, unfortunately. So Karma is going to get pulled up against. Serial is going to go second stage by the looks of it. Nothing at all they can do about that. Doc does get out of harm's way, however, so that's always something. Again, 3 survivors up standing now, trying to get onto the generators once again. But like I was going to say, super unfortunate that it's actually Ruin that they get cleansed and not Crowd Control. If you could have your pick of the litter, you would always pick Crowd Control, I am certain, as a survivor. But now we do have Serial actually getting picked up off of the hook, and can we get into main? That is the biggest question. People have kind of been avoiding it a lot as of lately because of the breakable walls being bugged a little bit. A nice little curve coming in onto Daimeo. He is going to go down, but 2 gens do pop, however, and a little bit of momentum shift back to the survivors now, Dire.
And we need more pressure for the Billy. We have the mobility, we have the tools, we have the chances, and we have our no mither survivor. Of course, that's not going to be the best one to go into the chase with here, because he is potentially going to pick himself up. So the slug would at least be denied, but we are already having the next survivor here on the truck. That's going to be a Karma, Serial, everyone together here in one chase. Pretty intense, pretty big chaos that we are going to witness here right now, but with the blind they are actually able to make themselves gone over here to the tile. Pretty good chase so far, quite some seconds being taken out over to the filler pallet as well. So definitely some gens that can be progressed here, but then unfortunate for Serial that it comes to an end like that.
Definitely unfortunate. That's going to be Serial getting taken out of the trial. We still have Crowd Control going. That is the perk that is a thorn in the survivor side as of right now. And we do see actually a 4 people, I think, being used, or maybe a deli. I'm not quite sure. Daimeo at least got off the hook. I'm pretty sure it was a deli. Could be wrong on that part, unfortunately. I didn't really notice. But we are going to go and check on the gens instead here. And Doc now being found outside of Shack, and this shouldn't take too long with Crowd Control being implemented. Oh, he's actually going to go over to the big harvester instead. I don't know if I completely agree with this, actually. I feel like with Crowd Control on Shack, it's not too bad for Billy to play there.
Now we are going to Doc, the Billy player who just made the biggest show for us during the mid game, and then got a little bit into a fumble in the end game. He's now on the run right here, gives it over to Karma, who's taking the chase from there. 3rd generator being completed. Keep in mind, everyone, we need 3 stages out of the door due to the penalty. A tie is not possible on this one. Hitboxes is going to get the down though right here. Is going to take the pickup and the hook stage, because you don't want to overcommit with the slugging. It is a lot of risk. If the survivors are a little bit quicker with the resets than you are expecting, you might face some difficulty. So it's always a good idea to hook the survivors from time to time and getting some hook stages secured. Yet, Nico, I have to say, I was not expecting the 4th gen already.
No, me neither. That must have been a double inside of Shack, probably. Unless Daimeo is on a gen somewhere else, that's probably something we could check out to see if anyone is over there, because this is not looking good here for hitboxes, honestly. Did you see the unhooking coming in here? Not sure if that's Doc or if it's the Hinata coming in. It is actually Doc over there, so that's something you can't slug at all. And we do see Hinata here on the generator over by main. Quick and quiet, apparently. Game is a little bit buggy sometimes with the audios, unfortunately. Don't even think he has that. But we do see a beautiful little looping coming in here. Are we going to go on the other side of the map? We are. We're going to sniff over here to try to see if we can find anyone. Remember, there are 2 people alive on this side of the map, so they could definitely be doubling this gen over here. But now, once again, Nato has the opportunity to go back onto main. Beautiful curve onto Sin Car here. Nothing at all that we can do there on the side of the survivor. That is so difficult to react to if you're holding that curve super tight.
And I'm getting corrected from the background by our wonderful match staff and team. Shout out to them. 2 stages out of the door is enough with the penalty. So 1 survivor, basically, one of the survivors that hasn't hooked too often just yet, which is a lot of chances for the team. Karma could take responsibility for that, Doc could take it, and so can Daimao. But let's see how Daimao is performing here in the Spitz corner, since we had the perfect moment from Spitz from Eternal in Season 9, running the killer for a very long time here, and that was a Billy as well. Unfortunately, coming to an end relatively quickly, and we are racing over the Blood Lodge, trying to find the next survivor, trying to make sure that we are as quick as possible back on the generators, keeping the progress under control, keeping an eye on potential trouble that is waiting for us. Hitboxes trying to move around the truck right here, is not going to find the down though. And now starts the difficult calculation on the killer side. It's all about the time. How far can I go into the chase? When should I have the down? How much can I commit to this? Spitz corner being used successfully by Karma, Doc and Daimao, potentially doubling up on a generator. Not entirely sure if they would be quick enough to push us into the end game here, yet Hitboxes is deciding to go over back here, and it was actually a good decision because he needs to keep all of these survivors under control if he wants to make sure that the team is winning. Doc going out of the door should be the win.
It definitely should be, and I do believe Doc is already on the gate over there. Oh, he missed his chainsaw timing there. No, he's not on this door at the very least, so he might be on the other side actually picking up Karma. Unknown here what is happening. Yeah, that does seem to be the case, unless Karma does have the soul guard. I'm not certain of that. I didn't really pay attention this time around. I'm sorry about that, but we are going to try to run back all the way over to the other side of the map, see if we can find anybody. The gates are not on this side, remember, they are on the side of Shack, and then I do believe left side of the main if you're looking towards Shack at the very least. We can't find anyone just right now, and they've apparently successfully stealthed away from this area. And alright, this is not very good here for the side of Hitboxes. He is definitely in a dire situation right now, as you would say. Daimeo, however, is going to go down. Going to get slugged this time around. Doc was trying to get out here. He's going to get slugged here as well. Maybe even put on the hook immediately. Nice dead hard coming in. Knows the exact timing. And we do have Karma trying to get out of the trial. He is out. I think that is going to be enough for them to make sure that they win this trial, if I'm not mistaken. Dyer, that is not going to be enough hook states here for Hitboxes, sadly. Even with the penalty, I believe. I don't think it's still going to be enough. Or sorry, I don't even think the penalty is going to do anything this time around, pretty certain. Hitboxes, I think, just does not have enough hook states, even if they didn't have the penalty.
Yeah, Karma moving out of the door here is going to be enough for the team Infinity. Good job for them. if he finds all of the people, which turns out to be the case, then if we're looking very carefully, it should be a 10 to 9.5. So it is the penalty that makes the difference. But what can we say? You have 4 minutes to set up the lobby. And for everyone who might want to take the defense for Team Eclipse here and say, well, that is crazy that you are going to penalize that. We are not sitting there with a timer, and when the 4 minutes expire, we are sending up an extra reminder first. And we also have people in the voice chats with the teams that are giving extra reminders, and I believe in this case we were around about the 6 minutes 40 for setting up the lobby, so far beyond the 4 minutes, even with some tolerance, and the team also didn't approach us with any reason to take longer. So penalty unfortunately making the difference, telling you that following the rules is a pretty good idea sometimes. Unfortunate for Eclipse, congratulations for Infinity. We are going to move towards the Blight, the final set for this best of 3. The Blight is going to be played on Suffocation Pit 1, relatively standard comp, you could say, gold standard almost. We will find out how well Eclipse is doing. It seems like hitboxes is not staying on the killer side. It should be either, not entirely sure actually who's playing the Blight on Eclipse. So before I'm losing myself in invalid prediction, we're going to hop on a quick break. Ladies and gentlemen, see you with the tiebreaker in just a second. Welcome back everyone to DBDLeague, the Blight on the Suffocation Pit number 1, and we are already going to turn into an IKEA worker, taking down the furniture of the main building and the pallet as well, making the map empty for the survivors as quick as we can. Hopefully that's not going to give us bad karma, but for an injury like this we have a doc on the map who can hopefully heal the injuries later on. Corrupt Intervention is going to make sure that the survivors are not going to be too quick, but the counterplay by Karma, he's countering the Corrupt Intervention early on. What a strategy here, going down this quickly to open up the access to the generators. Nico, this was peak gameplay.
Yeah, peak gameplay. Next time, just bring no mither plot twist and insta down yourself. That's probably gonna be a better call. I'm not sure if that's the strategy intended at the very least. Oh, nice little locker play here, but I think we're just gonna get a tag anyway, because you know, Blight is Blight. He's 115. He's not gonna be bamboozled by anything at all. Doc, however, going to, you know, make sure that he doesn't get hit too fast. Now he's going into the corner of the map though, and I'm not really certain. I guess he didn't have anything else. I feel like he could have taken a tag and maybe tried to run to main, but I guess that wasn't really on his plan list this time around, sadly. Karma, however, does get healed up after he got unhooked, and we do have, it sounded like someone near the hook, but I guess not. Anyway, well, either way, we're going to go and check on these generators here on the bottom side of the map before we do run up to the top side of the main. And we do have scratch marks we can follow a little bit here. Oh, nice little shoulder flick coming in onto Serial. Very, very beautifully done here. Good awareness here by Tech, showing exactly why he's playing the Blight here on the most comp map of the entire game. We're going back to the hook, however. There's no reason not to. We have a good tunnel out opportunity here onto Doc, and I'm not going to be able to shoulder flick this time around the corner, sadly, but we do have Serial here. However, this is going to be a fresh hook as well, and with no gens done so far, this could be very, very brutal coming in here for Doc, or the team of Doc at the very least here. Yeah, another eruption coming in onto the gen over there, Dire, and another Paymers is about to hit that generator as well. No, we actually do see Daimeo popping a gen on the top side of the map. So beautifully, beautifully played there to at least get one gen done here in the early game.
Serial on the hook now, 2 minutes 20. Always good when you have these fresh hooks on and know that you can invest some time. Especially the early game is great for that, as you can just rotate with your survivors. Serial now off the hook. It's going to be the next pallet break right here. Later on, the Survivor team will definitely have a little bit of trouble as they are sacrificing a lot of resources. That means they are taking a safe approach in the early game, but of course, keep in mind, everyone, it is at some point going to backfire a little bit. Trying to go for the injury, not going to work out. Karma with a pretty good job right here, moving back towards the shack, and Tech has to leave. That Survivor is finding the bump just barely on the corner of the tile here, trying to check on the other generators. Good work here by the Survivors, not taking any surprising hits, not running into the Blight as well. Serial also with the Deliverance has taken quite some advantage and pressure back for the Survivor team. They didn't need to send anyone. So Nico, it looks pretty quiet at the moment on the Suffocation Pit, but I expect a few gens coming out in a moment.
There should at least be one gen popping here pretty darn soon here. Doc taking a tag, trying to make sure that he has good check spots here coming around the corners. It's not going to be the case, however. Doesn't even have a pallet. He's just going to go down. Eruption proccing on 2 generators by the looks of it. And once again, we're just hooked in the same place. No, we're actually going to be taking a little bit into the middle of the map to get easier access to bot and top, I assume. I'm not really sure why we would do that. We do have a 3-gen on the top side of the map and on the bot side by the looks of it. Sorry, on the bot side of the map, not on the top side. So maybe we should have brought them down there. I'm not really sure what the thought process was. At the very least, we do see another unhook coming in after the pallet break against Daimeo. And can we find Doc? Because this is going to be the tunnel out if we can. We are going to be able to, and the question is if we're going to be able to get the tag instantly. We're just holding on, I guess. We could have swung there, I feel like, but not feeling like it as of right now. So Doc is going to maybe be able to get somewhere else. We're going to get the body block here from Serial. That's going to be a tag there. Can maybe be used later on. Doc trying to get to the window. Does manage to get over there. 1 bump. 2 coming in on the side here. This is not the ideal situation to be in if you're Blight. You're going to get exactly pallet broken there instead. And now, can we find a God Rock or anything else to rock with here? We do have 1 actually, and maybe just throw it down is probably the best idea. Yeah, another pallet is broken when the 3rd gen is popped on the bottom side of the map by the looks of it. Can we find Doc? Something is going on here. We're trying desperately, and we are finally going to get Doc down, and that is going to be the first tunnel out coming in here in the Blight set. And honestly, not too shabby here for Daimeo and company, because they're sitting pretty decently right now. They're doubling this gen, if I'm not mistaken, down at the shack, but it should be completely fine to actually do this. This is going to make sure that it's a 4K1 at the very worst for the side of the Survivors.
And Ace grinding down here, a little bit worried because the Blight is already there. Is it going to be enough? The answer is no. Very unfortunate that the pressure is not high enough. Pop is not going to be applied just yet. I was about to say if Karma somehow 360s or 720s the killer, then we might be able to put the pressure back in the gen, but the answer is no. And now Infinity actually needs to be pretty careful because they have 3 injured survivors, so there is a chance that this is being chained together pretty quickly. Ace there in the corner needs to watch out as well. Serial is on the top side, so they are doing a good job at the moment, making sure that the distance between the individual survivors is as big as possible. Yet I feel like if Infinity would pull back entirely and go for a reset, for example, in the main, that's not the worst idea right now.
Definitely not the worst idea right now, but we do have this issue of Karma being chased actually on the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, we do have Serial on the top side trying to make his way down. Oh, beautiful stun coming in here from Karma. Trying to get a little bit of silence going in to not show any scratch mark, not showing where he is. Ace, notoriously silent survivor here, is going to try to find the 2 players here on the bottom side of the map, and Damao actually making certain that he's going to be healed up. Serial did manage to get the unhook, and no pain resist left. No eruptions are applied. Oh, sorry, that's not true. There is 1 eruption applied at the shack gen on the bottom side of the map. But that is about the only thing that he has to rock with right now, unless he can get a pop going from a hook state. Nice stun coming in here from the Hinata. Once again, trying to run away from the bot side of the map. Assuming here is Tech that they are doing the gen on this side, since we're running away from that generator. And Serial actually in a heap of trouble. Can't run anywhere at all. Is just going to go down. That's going to be another eruption on that generator. Where is Karma? Where is Damao? Are they able to actually get on the generator and do anything about this?
And there it is, Serial 70 seconds away from the elimination. Karma and Daimao, the two healthy survivors. The reset came through. They used their time really, really good here, not committing too much, not kind of clinging to the generators, because this is what we sometimes see when you are very desperate about getting the generators done or worried that you might be 4K'd with generators standing. Then survivor teams sometimes have the tendency to cling towards the generators and not letting go, even though the killer is pretty much in the dominant position at the moment. So the fact that they are not letting this happen here is proving their awareness and quality right here. We are going to see Daimao now taking the next chase on a relatively weak pallet onto the hill, and that's going to be a very nice stun right here into the main building, making sure that there is some distance being taken. Serial, Karma, all healthy. We pointed it out. Infinity definitely with a safe approach here towards the late mid games, an approach that we can absolutely agree on, though the only difficulty they have right now is that the generators were actually suffering from quite some regression. So getting that pressure back up needs a longer chase now from one of these survivors, and with all the resources that were already sacrificed, that's not going to be the easiest task.
It definitely isn't, and also you see this generator that was at like 70% is very, very far regressed now. It's down to like about 50 if I'm not mistaken. And Serial actually getting found here on edge map, lurking around, trying to keep safe. And I do believe this is going to be Serial going down as well. And I can't remember if this is the second or third hook actually coming in, but Eruption being applied once again on both of those generators is absolutely huge coming in here for Tech. And we do see the aura as well coming in here. Unbreakable, however, is actually going nuts here on Serial. He's going to be able to get up and get back on that generator immediately, if I'm not mistaken. Karma is not going to get hit this time around. We're running around the water tower, trying to find any sort of pallet, anything at all that we can get close to, so we can make certain that we don't go down too far in the open, but he is just going to go down. And again, are they just doubling that gen on the bottom side of the map? We only have one person as of right now on it, and Karma has been double hooked now. Remember, Serial was actually in death hook, so had Serial been hooked immediately, that would have been a 2 versus 1 scenario, and you probably would still have lost that generator anyway. So maybe a little bit of a misplay coming in here from Tech.
And a very unfortunate pop kick again. This generator here must have been repaired 75 times by now. And 158 stages could have walked out of the door in the meanwhile. But for Tech, definitely proving the control that he has over the survivor team here. We're moving back towards the main building. Is it going to be successful? The answer is no. Karma with a very nice dodge here on the main building side, trying to extend the chase as much as possible. Serial and Daimao might be teaming up on a generator in the distance. Then it would be Karma, who needs to be alive for quite some time. Eruption coming in. We don't see the slugging technique, so he is confident that he can take the hook stage. The survivor is down here working on it. 50% though, that's not at all going to be enough time. Difficult. I feel like that was the final chance to get the generator out of the way. This chase on the top side, now they are only 2, and with all the resources that have been sacrificed, we do not have a high chance that the next chase against the Blight is going to be a long one. So I feel like slowly but steady, the Infinity fans have to prepare for a 4K.
They definitely might have to, but remember, We had something similar last time, but this time around, it is going to be Serial going down. So we are probably just going to see the slug out coming in so we can find a Hinata. Maybe someone should let Tech know that you can just hook and it's still going to be 12 stages, even if there's anything going on. All right, beautiful. I think Tech found out there that, oh, right, I don't need to actually slug here. I don't need to find last survivor. It's going to be 12 stages regardless, as long as the last gen does not get popped. And it's definitely not going to. Hinata just stealthing around a little bit. We are going to probably meet over by Shack. Yeah, the Shack hatch being closed here by Tech. And it's going to be a 1v1 now with the gates. Oh, he actually goes on the gate instantly. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. It's not going to play out too well, though, unfortunately. Just going to get M1 here. And now we're going to go to the Shack. Maybe we can get a 1v1 going without a pallet. Let's see here if we can get a live play. Trying to get Crouch Tech going on the bottom floor there, but that's not going to happen, sadly. So Mori coming in as well, Dyer. Beautiful way to finish this matchup. 4K1 coming in for Tech and his team, and that's beautiful. You can definitely see why he wanted to be on the Blight.
Very strong by our Blight. Tech is also giving Eclipse the trial that they really needed after dropping the Billy set. So let's hope that Eclipse can make some sort of comeback, because otherwise it's going to be a 2-0 for Infinity. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to find out if it's a 4K on 2 gens or if Eclipse is able to get all the gens done. We will show you that after a very short break.
Welcome back, everybody. We are once again back here with the Blight. We have Eclipse trying to get all of the generators done after they got a 4K1. That is the win condition for them, Dyer. On the other side, a 4K2 is what is needed to not get a tie, and therefore, you know, getting the win condition instantly for Infinity. Who do you have your eyes set on? I feel like Tech actually played insanely well last game, and we actually have a new killer player as well. We have Daimeo coming in here trying to show off his Blight play.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? That we seem to have 2 experts on the Blight on the teams here, which is ultimately making it more fancy for us, more exciting to see what they are bringing up on the table. I still feel like that Team Infinity has been very strong on the Nurse set. Team Eclipse has brought it back so well on the side of the Billy. So if they would take it here in the Blight set, then they would definitely deserve it. On the other hand, we would go all the way back to the Nurse for the tiebreaker. So Infinity wants to make sure that they are keeping this under control here, and that it's going to be a 4K with 2 generators standing. A lot of time being wasted though by MRK. Really good first chase against the Blight. Very strong showing. Damao eventually gets the first down here, but that was one hell of a good showing by our survivor.
Definitely well played here in the early game, and we should see a gen pop for this at some point at the very least, not before the pain res does arrive, however. So Corrupt Intervention probably did something this time around, and we do see, interestingly enough, the barbecue coming in here for the side of the Blight, and that is very spicy. I feel like, you know, we saw the eruption pain res pop last game, but we're opting to just go for the barbecue instead, and I feel like that's a very bold statement to make, and maybe trying to just go for early chases here. But no, it seems like we're content just proxy camping a little bit and then going to the bottom side of the map instead. I'm not really sure if I agree with this, Dyer. You know, when you know what perks you have, when you have the barbecue, I feel like you need to take some more risks if you want to try to get the 4K too.
Definitely, the risk is needed. 3 generators is not a lot for the team here. MRK will be obviously the one who finds himself tunneled out. You want to cut the survivor team as quick as possible, making sure that the pressure is ultimately going all the way towards the killer side. MRK doing such a good work, I must say. The first chase was impressive. We didn't even sacrifice so many resources yet, as MRK is using much more windows for himself. He is, unfortunately though, not the best one in hide and seek. He was probably never allowed to play it in school or something, but that didn't really look successful, so that's going to be a very quick second hook stage for the survivor right here. Very unfortunate then.
Very, very unfortunate events here for MRK. Not really much they had to work with, however. Tried to get away, and no gens being popped up until right now, which is super, super surprising, actually. Hitbox is also going down fairly fast here. Not the best palette in the world to try to play around against Blight, for sure. You can always just 50-50 win that one. I feel like it's not even a 50-50. You just keep bumping on side to side until they try to vault the palette, and then in that case, you just get the down afterwards. So with hitboxes down, MRK on the hook, someone else needs to do something now, and Lux is the person that's trying to go for a play and might be able to get the unhook here. Probably has to sacrifice himself, but no, not even able to do that. So this is very, very dire situations here right now. We are going to go into the locker, but now you just have two people around the hook here. One on the hook and one inside the locker. He's actually decided to pick this person out. Instead, is Tech around to maybe get MRK off the hook? He has to be, I feel like. Yes, he is going to get the unhook here. Or hitboxes is someone, at the very least, was around to make certain that we do get MRK off of the hook. Remember, no decisive strike coming in here under Carlos. And that is not going to be the down this time around. We do have a little bit of a medium vault coming in, making sure that MRK can get a little bit more distance around this God Rock. Nice little flare coming in, going to the right side instead of left. Beautifully done here. Another God Rock actually on this side. Can we get a little bit more value out of this chase? Nice vault coming in as well. I feel like Dameo is losing every single 50-50 as of right now. Vaults the pallet once more. Being very, very patient are both the survivor and the killer right now. Talbot going around trying to get the down, and he is going to do that. That is beautifully done here. Lux, in the meantime, has been unhooked, has been healed, but it's still 4 gens left as of right now, Dyer.
Absolutely surprising for me that we're still with this high of a gen counter. I mean, we can see it here with the barbecue. The generator pressure was split, but still, I always felt like when I played comp myself, this number down there in the hut is actually a really, really strong matchmaker and influencer. And when you see that it's going down, like 2 gens feels nice, 1 especially, but being on 4 gens when you lose a survivor and just barely pushing it into 2 generators completed feels definitely pretty heavy on your shoulders. Damao, a lot of collisions here, but not going to find the target just yet. A little bit of back and forth here with Tech. He has recently just played the Blight, so he definitely has the experience when it comes to the unfortunate... What?
Moonwalker. I think that was a visual bug. I'm not entirely certain, but that was definitely a first one. You've never seen moonwalking like this, Chad. I'll bet you bottom dollar that you have not. Eruption going to be applied to this generator. Make sure that we can get some value out of that later on. Lux, however, did get tagged, so definitely going to be ripe for the taking later on if we do find him again. Meanwhile, here on the top side, is that a 4-gen that I'm spotting? I think that's a 4-gen that he has on the top side, so probably never gonna move from this side of the map if Damao wants to just hold this down. This is with the mill gen right there. It is 4 gens, really, really easily holdable for the Blight. Oh, we actually get window tech a little bit there. Trying to get that hit in, but we are going to get the tag this time around onto hitboxes, and just 1 more gen is what is needed for the tie condition. And it doesn't seem like Dameo is very comfortable right now in this situation. That it feels like he's definitely, with the double fatigue as well, sitting not very pretty right now.
Oh, it's so rough now. 2 gens standing, 1 more would be the tie, so we would actually need to rotate into the Nurse again. Infinity wants to take the win, obviously. Eclipse has shown in the game before that they are able to do that. Eclipse has shown that they are very, very strong, so you really want to seal the deal here and you want to make sure that it's going to be successful for your team. Tech taking the next injury. Remember, everyone, no generator can be completed, otherwise Infinity is not going to take the win. And there's 1 generator with pretty far progress, and also there's a generator next to the shack. What is it going going to be is the big question for today. Lux injured, Tech injured,
oh, there it
Hitbox is injured, and they secured it. It's at least the tie, so we are going back to the Nurse set. That's going to be needed to decide this best of 3. What an intense game here so far. Opening with a tie, finishing with a tie, and that's just crazy. How insane Misery and Eclipse... Misery. I'm fumbling. Eclipse and Infinity are playing it today. Jeez. I'm old.
Me too, buddy. Don't worry about it. Anyways, this just goes to show how, you know, neck and neck these two teams actually are. They are just on the same level, it feels like. None of them have been far and above each other. We've had 2 ties, and we have 1, you know, game that was broken just because of a penalty action. So that would have been a tie as well. So we are going to go back to the Nurse set, like you said, to try and figure out who is actually going to be the winner, regardless of what happens here. But interestingly enough, I feel like these two teams are just so neck and neck, constantly dire. So it's almost impossible to tell them apart.
It's crazy. It's crazy that they are so unable to determine a winner here. I mean, this is usually something that we're seeing late in the semifinals, maybe the quarterfinals. But so many ties is something that is just outstanding. And keep in mind, we don't even have a 1-1 on the set points yet. It would be possible that Eclipse, since they picked the Nurse, will this time come out as the winner. Then we have the 1-1, and then we need another tiebreaker, basically. So it's not even that a decision is possible.
No, definitely is not. So it's going to be super interesting to see what actually happens here. This end game is going to be very tense. Tech is on the ground at the moment, and I think right now Damao is just trying to play for not getting the last generator popped at the very least, trying to see if he can find a way to get the 4K1 at the very least. They don't want to go into the next one with, you know, lower morale and having lost this set. They definitely want to try to make this a tie at the very least, because that's the best case scenario right now for the side of them.
Damao now with the big task, though, to make sure that generator number 5 is not coming out, because if you're keeping it with 4K1, you're moving into the Nurse set again with still being up 1-0. That's the big advantage that you can take here. If you're not able to secure the gens like this, then it's a 1-1, and then the Nurse can bring the ultimate decision. So Damao still having a very big... a very big task on their hands with this generator right here next to the hill being so much. There is definitely the chance that Eclipse is pushing through. Hitbox is taking an injury, 3 survivors. I don't think you can chase him here because David is already circling around the main building going towards the hill. It would need to be an immediate down that he's not even able to get. He needs to get back towards the hill.
Definitely needs to. There's also a gen on the bottom side of the map that we might need to check up on. Yep, exactly like I was going to say. That is the one that is going to fall down. So that is going to be 1-1 going in to the Nurse set. So completely tied up here. Nothing in between these two teams. And I think there was a gate as well on the bottom side. So we're definitely going to see one person escape at the very least. Lux is going to open the gate in about, I think, 5 to 6 seconds. Nothing is probably going to stop him in that regard, and he's just going to take the exit probably with the 3K going over to Damao. I don't think anything is going to stop him from getting that. Actually, Hitbox is getting picked up, so that wasn't an unbreakable, I'm pretty sure. So that has to be them getting picked up by Lux actually instead. So maybe we're trying to get as many people out as possible instead. We're trying to add insult to injury right here.
It is now going to be also the big question, right? We have this down here, but if they are taking outs on the side of Eclipse, asserting their dominance basically on the Blight set, and then going very, very strong into the Nurse set again with this confidence, with this hype, then we might see a very different Eclipse than in the previous trial. An Eclipse team that is going to be much more dangerous than before. Keep in mind, everyone, we are playing the tiebreakers in alternating order, so it is going to be Infinity staying on the killer side, as the first time when we had the Nurse, Eclipse was taking it. So Eclipse will stay on the survivor side. The teams will receive some extra moments here to hand in new perk builds, so we don't have the revealed perks from the first set of today. We will set all of that up in a moment. Nico, you need to take over for me for a second.
I need to take over for a second. I got you, Dyer. We do have Tech still in the trial, actually, and he is going to escape as well. The two-man escape coming in here for the survivor sides. Beautifully played here by the side of Infinity, or sorry, Eclipse, obviously. They do manage to get the W for their team, and that means that we're going 1-1, and we're going back to the Nurse set once again, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, obviously. This is going to be interesting to see if the Nurse set is going to be different this time around. It definitely felt like the side of Doc had an idea about what they wanted to do on the Nurse map, but question is if they can do it better this time around. Definitely didn't seem like it actually went to full effect at the very least. But we are going to take a small break here as we do get the teams lined up again for their Nurse map with the new builds, and we'll be right back after a couple of messages.
Welcome back, everyone. We are back with the tiebreaker of the tiebreakers, because we had a couple of ties today, and as the ties usually bring it up, there's a tie then. And if you have the ties after the tie that is still a tie and needs to be broken, then the tiebreaker is the only thing that you can do to compare a tie and decide how you break this tie into a tiebreaker set that is ultimately played now as the tiebreaker set of these ties that needs to be broken. And broken is also, what a smooth intro, by the way. Broken is also MRK on the floor. I'm so proud of myself, Nico.
Good job, buddy. Good job. Yes, MRK does go down pretty fast this time around. Doc is not playing around anymore. He wants to get some sleeps as well, or go into the Halloween event, who knows. But MRK is going to be the first pain res going in, and it is going to be the exact same perks, actually, here from the side of Doc. Beautiful game sense here, knowing exactly that someone is going to be around. Nice job by Mathis. Very nice back and forth double back there coming in from him, making sure he doesn't go down too fast. And it is going to be, like I said, the same perks coming in for Doc. So it's Pain Res, Undying, Ruin, and Corrupt Intervention. Corrupt obviously already being gone. One Pain Res stack gone. But still, a lot of gen regression that can be upheld right now. And Doc playing a little bit more aggressively than you see right now, or than we saw earlier. Sorry, I mean.
I'm just hoping for Eclipse that they are now able to show the win to all the fans that are still here. Shout out for that. This massive best of 3 that we are witnessing here right now. And since they have looked into the Larrys and they have cooked up this strategy with the Nurse and Larrys, they better make sure that they are going for something crazy. And this is not what I'm expecting from an Eclipse that is bringing out the Nurse on Larrys, Nico.
No, this is definitely not what you wanted to see. I feel like Mathis a little bit too antsy. They're trying to get in. MRK couldn't really do anything about it. He was just sitting on hook waiting for someone, and apparently a little bit of miscommunication coming in. Another Pain Res hook was right next to it as well, so that's even more gem regression going down. Now 2 fish here sitting just for the taking, and I think someone needs to come in and try to get something going, but it's just going to be a 1-for-1 constantly. I think MRK is just going to die regardless of what they do. They unhook, it's going to be a very, very simple and easy tunnel out. They don't unhook, well, they might get 1 or 2 gens, but then it's going to be MRK dying for sure, and then Mathis being very close to second stage as well. This is absolutely terrible, and I think we missed a skill check as well on the other side of the map, so that's even worse coming in here. And yeah, I think Doc is completely fine with trading the hook of Mathis for the death of MRK. I don't think it's going to be, you know, super sad about that. That's completely fine.
MRK, that 5 gens now just barely changing it into 4 generators standing, but a lot of trouble on the side of Eclipse. Nico, I would even say that this second chance basically on the nurse on Larry that got picked by Eclipse is looking more difficult than originally. So what they were preparing here against Infinity, this surprising nurse on Larry's is really not working out for them. They didn't calculate good when they chose this set, though Mathis is still injured, and that is usually telling us that they are prioritizing the generators. Also, for a while now, we haven't seen any additional injury coming out, so the elimination definitely big for our killer player here, but after that, no big pressure coming out anymore, which is the chance for Eclipse to take a little bit of a recovery here.
Yeah, it definitely is. We see Mathis probably sprinting around somewhere injured. Yeah, here he is. Can we get this down? We can. Pallet drop is not going to save him this time around, sadly, but it is going to be the second hook state coming in from Mathis. We hope and pray for the side of Eclipse that we are on generators right now, because they need to be pumping these out right here, right now, to try to get this as low as possible, because this is no longer a matter of are they going to get any outs. They're probably going to get 4K'd almost regardless, because you do the math, 3 people trying to do 4 generators against a nurse, that's just not going to work out in any capacity at all, Direwolf. So they're definitely just trying to get to 2, maybe 1 generator left, and that's going to be probably good for them in their eyes. Mathis now unhooked as well, going to be the next tunnel out, most likely, definitely. We actually saw one person run out into the open to try to say, okay, you can try to go for me, but you're going to let go of your second tunnel out. Not going to be the case, however. Mathis getting chased into the library. Line of sight blockers are plenty here, so they're going to be able to get a little bit more distance. Let's see if the first blinks catches him at any point at all. Nope, not going to be the case. No vision, no eyes, no LOS. We do, however, get another gen popping dire, and Mathis is now maybe in trouble. He's just going to try to die on the pallet by the looks of it. He says, someone is here, trust me. But I don't think he's under the pallet enough, and it's on the wrong side as well. Dire, that is the worst outcome possible. Twice now we've had misplays here from the survivors of Eclipse, and it's just going from bad to worse.
It really is, and Eclipse also, while they are in this difficult situation already, right, where they could be busy with slamming the generators, healing the injuries, maybe even going into some sort of hide and seek against the strong nurse from Doc here. While all of this is on their to-do list, they are trying to go for something risky like the pallet save that is then not working out, meaning you haven't healed your injury, you haven't put pressure into the generators, and even more, you have basically put pressure onto yourself instead. Very unfortunate here for Eclipse. Infinity with Doc absolutely shining. 2 survivors standing, 3 gens still to be repaired. This is the chance that Infinity is taking this entire best of 3 for themselves.
Definitely looks like it. It feels like they are on the up and up right now. Eclipse, unfortunately, not doing too hot. You know, 2 people left in this trial. Can they even get 1 generator more? A 4K3 would be an absolutely immense result coming in here for the side of Infinity and Doc, but it's not over just quite yet. If we can get a 4K2, there is still hope of, dare I say it, another tie, Dire. That is definitely doable on this map with this killer in particular, especially when you know that it's the fact that Eclipse brought in this killer and brought in the strategies. They definitely have something cooking. So they're probably pretty comfortable going into this next set, regardless of the outcome here. They think they can 4K regardless, at least.
Karush and Skores, the 2 survivors that we have seen pretty often today with responsibility on their shoulders, are once again the duo that needs to strike now for Team Eclipse here. Is Doc able to take control back? Is he able to locate them? The answer is very clearly yes. Karush is being found right here. We might see a slug after the survivor is being thrown onto the floor, trying to find the final survivor afterwards. And what a nice move though, when you are, I can give respect to that. If you're in this difficult moment that you Do not allow the killer to take the down himself. I love to see that.
Yeah, it also puts the killer in a situation where they basically have to hook, obviously, because the plot twist is going to get them up if they don't do it. So definitely makes the best out of a bad situation right there. Score is now. Question is, are they going to try to stealth out? Are they going to try to get a gen done? Are they going to try to maybe get the unhook and then try to get a gen done? There's a bunch of different plays they could try to go for. Hatch obviously being a non-factor means that either you try to pump that gen on the opposite side of the map of where the hook is, or you try to go for the unhook and try to make a miracle play from there and try to get one more gen. But as of right now, it's looking like a 4K3 at the very least. I don't believe there's much they can do about it on this side of the Eclipse.
Yeah, Scores now basically needs to stay hidden first, then afterwards needs to rescue the team member. Somehow they need to get the heal done. I do think the only chance is either being completely vanishing after taking it in a good moment, but that's not the case here, so very unfortunate as well. I think we are going to see the final chase coming out now between Doc and Scores. He wants to make sure that he doesn't overlook this survivor. Is it a double back is the question, or are we waiting in one of these lockers? And there they are. 4K with 3 generators remaining. Nico, that is horrible.
That is absolutely insane result coming in for the side of Infinity and Doc. They are well happy with this result. Just do 3 generators, guys. We can leave the first person on the hook for the entire time and just split out on gens, and it's going to be completely fine. They just need 3 generators. That's it. Nothing else. So they're going to be very, very content with this, and this is definitely in the hands of Infinity to both win and also lose, I feel like.
Yeah, Infinity cannot lose this. I think we can agree on this, right? Infinity was playing good on the first Nurse set back then. They were taking it on the Billy set. Then they were playing strong on the Blight set. So there is no way that Infinity is losing this. Otherwise, I will be disappointed.
I mean, never say never,
like,
obviously,
honestly.
but it is definitely up to Infinity to lose the game more than it's up to Eclipse to win the game, I feel like, at this point. A 4K3 is an insanely strong result. Usually you can always get 3 gens done almost no matter what the case is of the game. There's just not enough the killer can actually do, especially on this map as well. So I do believe that it's very much up to Infinity to lose the game rather than this up to Eclipse to win the game. But we will see. We'll have to take a short break here while the teams are getting ready again with the new loadouts, etc. And we'll be right back here after a couple of ads.
Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs. Le Frange's team, Karma, Doc, Surreal, and Daimao are playing against Le Box de Hit on the Nurse, Teleportation Killer. And yeah, that would be nice, huh? If we are grabbing the first survivor out of the locker like that. I think you can already tell, Nico, that they are very desperate to get some pressure.
Definitely desperate to get some pressure, but we also desperately have found a new set of perks, actually. So we do actually see a little bit of aura coming in here instead, with both Undying, Locker perk, and Ruin and Corrupt. So definitely going to try to look to be a lot more aggressive here. And we'll see if it's going to work out or not. I'm definitely interested to see what they are going to be cooking up this time around. Now we finally found a survivor. Short blinked a little bit too much, unfortunately, so Cyril is going to be able to get away from that first tag at the very least. And remember, 3 gens is all that the side of Infinity need to do to make sure that they actually win this game. Now, once again, we do have a blink coming in right on top of the forehead of Karma, almost sprint burst, however, getting him out of harm's way. Beautifully done, and they're playing safe right now, the survivors from Infinity. And I feel like Eclipse Killer Hitboxes is maybe getting a little bit frustrated here because no tags coming in with Corrupt Intervention almost running out there.
Yeah, the pressure is 100% on hitboxes. Infinity is probably still celebrating from the previous trial, and what a great result they have received there from the Nurse player. If you are just coming in now, you just missed an absolute perfect Nurse game on Larry's here with only 2 generators being completed. So a lot going for Team Infinity here. We can only hope, though, 3 generators it was completed, but with 4 gens that you need to complete, ignoring a 3-gen setup, you are feeling absolutely on point. The only danger that I see is that you are potentially a little bit too confident on the survivor side when having a win condition like that, and then you are overcommitting to a generator, not taking care of any injuries or something like this, and then it can turn against you.
Yeah, and just to clarify, once again, it was 2 generators that got done. 3 gens were left last one, so they can completely ignore anything at all. They just need to do 3 generators, and they have the win on the side of Infinity here. Not getting attacked, however, does get a little bit of bed rest here. The Nurse probably very used to that at this point in her career. And we do get the 1st gen popping, actually, here. While we do get a tag onto the Hanato this time around, we are going to try to make as much distance as possible, but it's not going to be enough. Beautiful blink actually coming in, making sure that they can possibly get the down and maybe a hook. No, we're actually deciding to do a little bit of slugging here, so maybe this is going to be the strategy instead, Dyer. Maybe we're just going to try to slug out and try to get everyone down before all the 3 gens that they need to do are done. The second one here already at about the 75% mark, but already picked up is the Hinato, so not much here to actually gain here from hitboxes. And with Darkness Revealed even, it's not even going to be super easy to figure out where people are. They are... Actually, we do see quite a decent amount of people. And this is going to be a tag instantly onto Doc. That had to be absolutely terrifying. And I do believe they've probably realized what they are up against, Doc here and company here. On the other side, they are, however, on the generators. And Hitboxes knows this. He knows he doesn't have too much time to try to figure out where people are and try to tag them and try to get these downs going as fast as possible. And Dyer, what do you think? Are we trying to see a slugging Nurse? Is that the plan?
I think you have to slug, you have to do something crazy, because if you lose this, it doesn't matter how, right? And even if you have 1 stage at the end and everyone is walking out of the door, then Infinity is taking the win anyway. So losing with 3 generators completed or losing with 1 stage on the Nurse side doesn't really make the difference. And I did a little bit of research in the background, and since Eclipse has also lost 2-0 against Oracle at the beginning, they would actually say goodbye in All Hallows League. And Infinity, on the other hand, with the win of Cynic and the win over Eclipse, they are already setting themselves for the playoffs. So this match here also has consequences, which makes me honestly feel even worse for Hitboxes here. Not only is he in the pressure situation that he needs to basically get a 4K right now, on top of that, it's also about being out of the tournament or not.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to get a 4K4 or a 4K3 for the Tycon at the very least. Is absolutely immense amount of pressure on his shoulders, obviously trying to once again figure out if we can see anyone. There goes the 2nd generator. However, the 3rd generator could pop at any second on the bottom side of the map as well. I don't believe that we've checked down there for a while at the very least. We do see Hanato once again getting picked up. Karma hasn't been tagged the entire game, so is sitting pretty on that gen somewhere at the very least, being very, very safe for right now at the time being at the very least. And oh, interesting little tactic there coming in from Doc, double vaulting, and that is the 3rd generator being done on the bottom side of the map. And now I think we just have to play for the chases instead. There's nothing more to gain for Hitboxes. They are going to be eliminated, but honestly, they played so well up until the last game, where I feel like just a slight mistake made everything crumble and fall. And that is unfortunately how it goes sometimes in these games with the high pressure situations. You were talking about resilience, Dyer, and I feel like that is one point that you could definitely see it not coming through.
And now The final chases here, you talked about it, resilience and pretty much keeping on the level of your performance. The high gameplay is important. Hitboxes, please don't make the mistake and block the survivor for too long, because otherwise we are having some very serious issues here. If the killer would block the pathway of a survivor for longer than 10 seconds, we would need to intervene with a restart and a very heavy penalty. So I was worried there. For a moment that it becomes even worse, because if we would have a restart with these penalties, then basically the next trial hitboxes would need to have all survivors dead on 7 generators remaining. So that would have been quite a task. So we are going to see Serial now hopping over on the top side of Larry's here, trying to make some distance and getting the injury regardless. But I think now Infinity will put the focus on playing it out in a very nice way. And honestly, I even feel like they could take some outs here potentially.
They definitely could. Obviously, Hitboxes had to play in a very different manner. Couldn't really go for the hooks, etc. So it doesn't have the tunnel out option. Is now going to put Demo onto the hook. Is going to try to get as many hook states as possible to try to clean it out as well as they can. On the side of Infinity, a 3-out is definitely doable for the time being, at the very least, with how it's looking. I feel like they should have decent gen progression on a bunch of different ones. That one actually not that much, a little bit on the main generator, and then we have the bottom side one, which could have a little bit on it as well. We are 4 right now, maybe trying to go for a hook trade at some point. Karma and Doc, nowhere to be seen in Serial. We did see a little glimpse of them earlier, but they are possibly getting reset somewhere. Yep, there it is. So now spreading out here, what's the game plan coming in from the survivors? They are going to try to go for the unhook here. Hitbox's very nice blink comes in just in the nick of time, making sure that they can't get it for free at the very least. Nice tag coming into Karma as well. Now getting unhooked as well. And beautiful down coming into Karma as well. Hitboxes has been playing super well this entire day, I must say. I don't feel like any of the players have been making huge mistakes on their killer side at all. I feel like they've all been giving it their all and just having a really nice showcase in general there.
Yeah, 100%. The killer players were on point. We had some very tricky situations as well, where the win condition or the general context of a trial was not too great to play on. And yet the killers have done really well. Serial wants to end it. He wants to go to bed. Therefore, he's taking the down here. And is going to be thrown onto the hook as well. Same for the survivor side, a lot of ups and downs here. Eclipse obviously with a disadvantage at the end, but overall very promising, very strong. As we remember, Team Oh Boy, quite some players are coming from that team onto Eclipse, have shown us Dog and Daimao shining today as well when we are talking about these two legends. And while we are going into endgame and potentially just watch it nicely fading into a 4K here potentially, we want to share that the match between Misery and Team Eunoia is not going to be played anymore today. That is the first time that it happens in 4 years of us hosting tournaments, basically. But we are now 1 hour and 45 minutes behind schedule. It is pretty late already. The same goes for the producer that are even Savannah even ahead of us, so we are reaching midnight there. And if we are now going to play another best of 3, that's going to be an issue on our end. The same way it's going to be an issue for the teams. We have communicated with the teams, they have agreed with this decision as well. The decision found them, or the context found them well, so they are up for reschedule as well. So it's on the player side, on the staff side, everyone really not able to play on this pretty far delay. It's never happened before that we had a match that was bringing the schedule so into chaos. It's also linked obviously to the first game of today needing 3 sets, but Misery and Eunoia will discuss together when they are going to play their group stage match. Obviously we'll make sure that no team is taking a disadvantage from this, and yeah, as we are volunteers also, as you all know, we all have jobs, even on a Sunday. We need to make sure that we are fulfilling our more important tasks in real life, if you want so, the ones that are paying us, the ones that are making sure that we have a roof above our heads. So in this pretty much premiere situation, we have to cut the stream early and we have to reschedule one match because of the delay. Thank you regardless to all the teams that played today. Infinity, congratulations for moving into the playoffs even. And Eclipse, you have one more match, but the chances for the playoffs are unfortunately ending right here.